Welcome to Bronco Sports Chat. On tonight's episode, we'll be discussing the women's NAIA National Basketball Tournament. Stay tuned. You're watching Bronco Sports Chat.
Ball is thrown complete to Nathan Hall. Touchdown, Hastings College Broncos.
He's a young guy getting in.
What a play! What
a dunk! Dug out by Kenny. Ball's gonna be set up for Kabir. And this place going nuts!
I'm Andy Butler, joined alongside Dan Stimmen. Dan, how are you doing tonight?
Fantastic night to be here.
Good. Hastings College missed the 2011 national tournament, but did regain focus and make it back in 2012 with the first-round matchup against Tennessee Wesleyan. Colton Spearman has more on this.
This is the postseason report here for the Hastings College Broncos and the Tennessee Wesleyan University Bulldogs. Hastings did come on top, 57-43. It was a slow start as only 21 points were scored by Hastings in the first half and 15 by the Bulldogs. Things picked up in the second half. Alicia Statler for the Hastings College Broncos led all scores with 15 points, also led all rebounding by 12 points. She hit both averages there. Hastings had 22 points off of the bench, 6 for Tennessee Wesleyan, and 32 points in the 32 points for Hastings in the post, and 18 for Tennessee Wesleyan. It was a great game. Hastings come on top, and they're going to play the winner of College of the Ozarks and Valley State University.
Their average is 56 points, so that's what we knew going in. They weren't going to make a lot of mistakes. They were going to stay in front of you. They were going to make things tough. And the flare screen worked pretty well for us. Kayla got a couple of good shots off and got a really key three later in the second half for us. So we knew we were just going to have to be patient and wait for them. And the thing that I was concerned about, I thought our movement on offense was really sluggish.
Dan, now that you've heard how Dittman felt about this first-round game against Tennessee Wesleyan, what were you able to take away from the matchup?
From the first-round matchup, Hastings College definitely had a matchup advantage down underneath inside the paint with Statler and Zwiener being big post presence inside for Hastings College. But Tennessee Wesleyan did a great job of really coming out in the second half and spreading the Hastings College man-to-man pressure out. When they were able to do that, they were able to get a lot of backdoor cuts because Hastings College defense, they really don't know what's going on behind them because they play, really forward inside the post, and Tennessee Wesleyan took advantage of it, but they came up short in this one.
Moving on to the second-round action, Hastings College came up against College of the Ozarks, a number 1 seeded team. Colton Spearman has the highlights of this second-round game.
Welcome to the Tyson Event Center here, where we just witnessed the number 1 seed College of the Ozarks Lady Bobcats defeat the 5th seed Hastings Lady Broncos 64-52. For College of the Ozarks, Morgan Smith had 28 points, and for Hastings College, Elisa Statler had 55. Hastings led going into half 27-17, but then College of the Ozarks came storming back in the second half, taking the victory finally 64-52.
We went from a 5-13 team last year in the conference to a team that was competitive, a team that beat everybody in the conference except the number 1 and 2 team. Yeah. We doubled our wins. We got back into the top 20, which top 20 is not a goal for us, really top 5 is, but it's a big step forward, and then got back to the tournament, and I think we were, respectable in the tournament. We beat the Appalachian Conference champion, and we certainly gave the Midlands Conference champion a good run for their money too. So we made progress. That's what I'm going to remember about this year.
As Colton pointed out, the second-round matchup between the College of the Ozarks and Hastings College was a bit different than the first round. Dan, what was the Broncos' downfall?
Hastings College did great things in the first half. The second half, they really struggled guarding Morgan Smith. Morgan Smith was a great post presence inside for the College of the Ozarks. She was able to do her little turn, kiss it off the glass, and score 20 points out of scoring 8 in the first half. So the 28 was her finishing total. Great job there at College of the Ozarks to get it into Morgan Smith and just continue doing what they did in the regular season.
And there you have it. Hastings College goes 1-1 at the 2012 NAIA Women's National Basketball Tournament. Transitioning, Dan, how do you feel about the run that Hastings College went on through this postseason?
You know, in the postseason, it's great for Hastings College to get back to the NAIA National Tournament. They had a very promising season from one they had a year ago. But what they're really going to have to look forward to next year is getting back there. They have to get back there after having a very promising season and even being ahead of College of the Ozarks for most of that game and just faltering in the last 10 minutes of that second half. Getting to that next section of the next round or even in the championship, I think it's the next step the Broncos have to take.
What does Hastings College have to do in the offseason to really push their game to that next level?
Well, they've got to continue practicing the way they did last year. Obviously, something changed from a year ago from their losing record to what they have this season. And this season, they did a very good job of their up-tempo offense. They did a good job of ball pressure. Tanzania Urig did a great job ball pressure all year long. She should be commended for that. Defensive probably player of the year for me, being a broadcaster. But Hastings College, they got to continue to use that up-tempo game, even though they have that big, tall post presence with Zwiener in the game. But once again, running up and down the floor is their style of offense.
Okay, last year, the 2011 season, they were a pretty young team, would you say? They're younger than this year, obviously, and they do lose Statler and just a couple other players from this year's team. Only losing one or two key players, do you expect Hastings College to make a deeper run, or is it just about where they did this year?
You know, obviously losing an All-American and Alicia Statler is going to affect the team in some way, some shape, some way. But Alicia Statler, you know, you can replace a player eventually. I think Zwiener can be that position, that she can be in the same position as Alicia Statler. She's definitely tall enough. You know, she's like Brittany Griner. She's probably going to throw it down maybe in a couple years. But, you know, I don't think I think they have the weapons on the bench to replace. You know, Melissa Thompson does a great job of coming off the bench and providing excellent minutes. She started her freshman year. She's done a great job for the Broncos. Even in her sophomore year, you know, Zwiener learned a lot from Melissa Thompson this year. And I think that's where both of those posts are going to come into play next year, is how effective they can be knowing that All-American player Alicia Statler is no longer there.
Now, Hastings College was not the only team playing in this first or second round. Here are the other first-round scores. Moving on to the second round. The game before the Hastings College of the Ozarks game pitted Eastern Oregon and Concordia of Michigan in a tight battle that was arguably the best game of the tournament. Here's Kirk with its highlights.
We start with 21 seconds left in a one-point game. Eastern Oregon's Chayla Jones at the line. She hits that free throw, tying the game, and Concordia will call a timeout. On the ensuing possession, the Cardinals are able to get the ball down low to Brittany Simmons for 2 points with less than 10 seconds left to play. Now Eastern Oregon gets it in and inbounds it to Brooke Randall. Now she broke her nose in the first game, but she takes it in anyway and is going to get fouled, and off comes her face mask. It would not come back on for the rest of the game. Now she's going to shoot 2 free throws in a 2-point game with 0.7 seconds remaining. She steps up and knocks down the first one. Now her second free throw, and I got it. So we are going to go to overtime, tied at 57, thanks to the strong play right there late of Brooke Randall. Now overtime was back and forth with this basket coming from who other than Brooke Randall. Concordia was not going to go down without a fight, and as they get this basket right here from Simmons, she finished the game with 17 points. We now go to 1 minute left to play. Randall's going to drive, not quite get it. The ball's going to bounce around. Kyle Miller is going to come up with the rebound and get the jumper to fall. Now this would be the final lead change of the game going the Mountaineers' way. Now jump to about 10 seconds left to play. Concordia's scrambling, down by 5, and the scrappy defensive play from Brooke Randall, and she is able to seal the victory with that for the Mountaineers as they take this one 70-63.
That was truly a game for the ages. Dan, any final thoughts on the Eastern Oregon Concordia Michigan game?
Concordia Michigan is a great team, and hopefully they can get back to the NAIA tournament next year. But in their first round matchup, they were able to get a top 10 on ESPN at number 9. Let's take a look.
7 on the clock. 5. Allison Green three-pointer, no good. Rebound to Cieslak. 1 on the game clock. Long shot on the left for Ellsworth, and she buries it. Are you kidding me? Courtney Ellsworth, the senior from Goodrich, Michigan, hits the shot at the buzzer from the backcourt.
That's just a very remarkable play there, having an NAIA basketball play make the Sports Center top 10.
You know, top 10, top 9, you know. Great job there for Concordia Michigan to make that. You know, she even turned away and didn't witness the ball going in the hoop. She seen her teammates erupt from the bench and was able to catch the ball, hit the floor. So congratulations to her.
Yeah, it's definitely an act of desperation there almost, as she did heave that from her hip. Now we'll go to a quick break. You're watching Bronco Sports Chat.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov.
recycling bin and put your pizza boxes in there, right? Wrong. You can't recycle pizza boxes.
Welcome back alongside Dan Stimman. I'm Andy Butler back here for Bronco Sports Chat. And Dan, the GPAC had 5 teams in this year's national tournament. You had Concordia, Morningside, Hastings College, Briarcliff, and then the champion Northwestern. They had 5 teams, the most of any other conference in the nation. Dan, kind of just elaborate on how dominant the GPAC has been over the last years. You know, GPAC is a dominant conference in all of the NAIA and women's basketball especially. But the one thing you got to keep in mind is Northwestern's won the past 3 national women's basketball titles. That's huge for a program. That is very huge. 3 GPAC teams made the Final Four, or the Fab Four, excuse me. What do the GPAC teams have that make them so good when it comes down to the crunch time? I mean, they just basically, it's got to be coaching. Coaching get their teams well prepared for the games. You know, the players are well prepared. Katie Rich, who comes off the bench for Concordia, great bench player for Concordia, Nebraska. She does a great job. One game during the postseason, she was shooting 100% from the field and shot 100% from the free throw. She shot across the board 100%, so great job for her. But it all comes down to bench play. You know, when you can have a little drop-off or little or no drop-off from the bench to your starters, that's great for any team. As we were saying earlier, three teams made the Fab Four from the GPAC. They were Concordia of Nebraska, Briar Cliff, and Northwestern, who I already said had won. But now we're going to get the coaches' thoughts on how the GPAC compares nationally.
I know other teams across the country don't like to hear it, get tired of it when they come to this thing and hear it, they kind of make references to GPAC, the GPAC tournament or whatever.
The GPAC's tough. You kind of get battle tested, and when you have to play Morningside twice, well, 3 times, Hastings 3 times, we're ready to go.
The stat that always stood out to me when I was a non-GPAC member was not that they were winning the national championship, but they always had 2 teams in the Final Four, or 3 times in the Final Four, and one year they had all 4. Now, that's a statement of dominance to me.
We have that good of a conference, and we shouldn't be punished because of that. Our second, third teams are better than most teams that even win their conferences.
We have a tough league. It's just, there's lots of good players. I guess because I get to battle with them throughout the season, I think the coaches do a great job in our league.
You can have a great team once in a while, and we've seen some teams. Ozarks has had some great ball clubs. Indiana Wesleyan's had an undefeated season. But year in, year out, there's 2 and 3 and 4 GPAC schools that are in that Final Four, Elite 8.
The question always has to be, and I say this as a litany test for this tournament, since you've seen 9 out of the last 10 national champions come out of the GPAC, the litany test should be if that team has that record, because that's what it seems like what we do when we do the seeding, is this team has that 27-3 record. The question would be, would they have that record if they played in the GPAC? What would their record be if they played in the GPAC? And I know that sounds very conceited, but that is 100% honest.
We've kind of made the GPAC look a little better that our 5th place team beats the 1st place team from another conference. But the real challenge is now tomorrow, can some of us pull off some major upsets and get to where there's 5 teams in the Elite 8.
Because I played in this tournament, I played in this conference, and I've been around this is a really good conference. And we have to start awarding the GPAC instead of trying to put it down and push it to the side.
What helps us here is in our league you see different brands of basketball and different kinds of play. And so when you get to here and you prepare for a team on short notice and short turnaround, there's usually somebody in your conference you can say, hey, this team plays like this team that we played this year, or they play a little bit like this team. And that's a tremendous benefit along with just the talent that exists in our league.
Bottom line is, it is what it is, and we shouldn't have to apologize to anybody for having a great conference. We should not have to apologize to anybody. We have a great conference, award us for having a great conference.
Okay, Dan. Now that we've heard what the coaches of the GPAC think about their conference, any last thoughts on how they think, is it right, is it wrong?
Hastings College and the rest of the GPAC schools do a great job of recruiting. And Kendra DeJong, you got to give it up to her, double-double in every game in the national tournament. So congratulations to Northwestern and Kendra DeJong for that one. But they hit it right on the money. The GPAC is a very dominant team and dominant conference. Hastings College can be named atop those. Concordia this year had a stellar year. Northwestern, obviously there's a reason why they're three-peating.
Yeah.
So they do a great job. GPAC is a great conference, and there's a lot of great teams and players that come out of the conference.
Well, yeah, and a lot of that has to do with the scheduling. The conference is so tough that even when they're playing their non-conference schedule and they're playing the top teams, it's almost like a preseason game just because they know they're playing for the conference tournament. And Concordia won that conference tournament, and they didn't win the national championship. So in the GPAC, it just one team's doesn't sit at the top. It's whoever's having their good day and whoever matches up better with the other competition.
That's what's the beauty about the GPAC conference is that it's anybody's given day, basically. You could have somebody who's in the bottom of the bracket. Mount Marty upsetted Morningside in their 2 games this year. Morningside had 2 losses in that schedule, and Morningside, they have great guard play. Chelsea Trask and Shelby Bodette, great guards for Morningside, and they'll also be returning. So we got to watch out for that Morningside team, after losing Tanzania Warden this past season.
Now switching gears, we're going to take a quick break. You were watching Bronco Sports Chat. Welcome back to Bronco Sports Chat. Alongside Dan Stimmen, I'm Andy Butler. The day before the tournament starts every year, the NAIA National Tournament puts on a event for the teams in the Special Olympics. Would you describe a little bit of that?
20 teams took place this year. They got involved in the Special Olympics. It's a great event, not only for the kids. The kids enjoy the event throughout, the sessions that they have, and especially with the players. And the players enjoy it as well. Let's take a look at the video that Kirk Orndorff did.
It's giving back to community because the community is so much for everybody, and the city of Sioux City is just phenomenal running this tournament and everything that they do. So it's a way for us to give back for all the great things that they do for us.
Some of the kids are like, oh, where are you from? And we're like, actually, we're from right here. And they all think that's pretty cool that we just are right here in town. So that's pretty cool.
I think it's a lot of fun for us to do all this stuff with them and use basketball as a tool to make that connection.
To be able to come out and help and play and teach the game of basketball to people that are a little less fortunate. So it's good to get out and see them and interact with them and just have a good time teaching the game of basketball.
It's just really nice for the kids to come out here in this atmosphere and just to play with all the players that are going to be playing in the tournament. So I think it's really nice for the kids and they enjoy it. To see the kids smiling, they just go out there and have fun and they just act like they really like it.
Just meeting all the different kids. Like there's kids that we see that we remember their names and we know who they are from last year. So they make a big impact on us.
So Dan, after watching the video that Kirk so thoughtfully made, what is the importance of doing this event with the Special Olympics?
Doing this event, it helps, just people reach out to the needy, to people that really need help, and people that just love the sport. The players brought up a very good point. They like to see the smiles on the faces, and they recognize players that they've seen before. And Morgan Smith said that from College of the Ozarks. And, just reaching out to the people that need it, is a great thing. And they enjoy the time with the players and the coaches and players enjoy the time.
Yeah, and that's got to just be heartwarming seeing some of the kids return year after year. And I mean, we saw GPAC schools mainly say that because they're there every year. But it's very neat when they were talking about being able to recognize kids from previous years. That just always shows you how big of a deal this is.
It's a big deal. If you can remember a face for a child, if you can remember a face of somebody you look up to, and just like the NBA, or somebody you look up to as a mentor, somebody that persuades your life to go one way or the other. If you can remember that person and you look up to them for your whole life, and that's a huge issue, that they remember these girls, and the girls really draw that in, and they really take care of that, and that's what makes the NAIA and the GPAC conference and all these other teams that got involved really special in the Special Olympics.
It's nice to see that. You did mention there's 20 teams, and it's nice to see that 20 teams did want to do this out of the possible 32, and it's just nice, heartwarming,
heartwarming gift.
Heartwarming. It's just now that there's 20 teams that were able to come for this day before a special event. It's just nice to see that there's 20 of them that wanted to come and enjoy this day.
And a lot of teams can't get there.
Yeah.
With travel arrangements, you have teams getting out, can't miss a lot of school. Some of them are on spring break, which allowed them, some of them to come early. But the thing is that the teams got there, and then that when they got there, they didn't care that they were there just getting out of school. They were helping the kids, and the kids were enjoying it, and they were enjoying their time with the children. And I'm glad that they really took advantage of the Special Olympics and found out what really meant to them.
And now we'll go to a quick commercial break. You're watching the Bronco Sports Chat.
It can happen to anyone.
It happens all the time, even here.
A lot of people don't realize that when they're walking around the college campus, people they see every day could be, survivors of sexual assault.
A lot of people might have experienced sexual violence, maybe not on campus, but within their immediate families or with a close relative or a friend that they might have known.
Young people would just think we're invincible.
It's a very emotionally powerful subject.
And so thinking that one night, a day, any time that this could happen to you is just kind of unfathomable to people our age.
Always have, a group of friends that knows where you're going, what your plans are.
I think that everyone deserves an advocate for these things that are hard to talk about.
Most importantly, be educated about sexual violence.
It can happen to anyone.
Welcome back to Bronco Sports Chat. I'm Andy Butler alongside Dan Stidman. You can tell our stage has changed a little bit. This is a segment we like to call Around the Cooler, where we just kind of get right around 30 seconds to kind of talk about whatever we want regarding with today's topic, which is the Women's National Tournament. Dan, what do you have?
The Women's National Tournament this year had a lot of expectations. A lot of teams, a lot of elements. You can say that there wasn't really a Cinderella this year. Last year there was a Cedarville team that was more likely a Cinderella team. But this year, Northwestern got back to the championship, something they wanted to accomplish, and they've done it. They're a three-peat. Congratulations to the Northwestern Red Raiders. But there's a lot of promise for other teams that were in the national tournament. Morningside, they have a lot of guard play returning. We've said that before in our show. Hastings College, they lose an All-American in Alicia Statler. However, they have great guard play, they have great post presence coming off the bench, and they'll have a great team going into next year. Andy, what is your main topic on this one?
Well, so I kind of am going to go broad with this one. It's always awesome to have your division make SportsCenter, whether it be Division I, they're the highlights of the night. But to see an NAIA Division II play make SportsCenter on the top 10 even, it's just wonderful to see something like that. Kind of going with that though, you kind of touched on the Cinderella. I kind of thought there was a Cinderella team because Northwestern had won it throughout the tournament. We knew they were going to be good, but we were picking Concordia. We were picking other teams to win it instead of the Northwestern. And to really see them do as well as they did and come out with a third straight, it's kudos to them. And that will do it here for another edition of Around the Cooler. Be sure to check out hcsports.wordpress.com for a blog about Hastings College sports. Also, new shows every Thursday night at 7:30. I'd like to thank Dan for joining me tonight in talking about the Women's National Championship. You're watching Bronco Sports Chat.